Welcome, friends. In this third video on epidemiology, we shall be further talking about the prevalence and incidence which we had just mentioned last time. These two, as we know, are the measures of morbidity or the sickness. They give us some idea that how many people or what is the rate of being sick in a given community. And please remember that we are talking all this in the background of a very rare pandemic of COVID 19. Say, what we understand that whenever the incidence is measured, we must measure for a given period of time. And we must mention also that five new cases occur per year. Usually, it is measured per thousand population. But whatever unit of the population you take, you need to mention in the figure. Telling that five cases incidence, that doesn't work. You need to mention five cases per year per thousand population. And please remember, incidence always means the new cases. So these two tips must include the time, that is the per year or so, and must include the base that out of this per thousand or whatever you are taking. Generally, the incidence will be important for acute cases, which is for some time, for a shorter duration. Our prevalence will be contributed more by the chronic cases, which last for a long time. So prevalence measures all those cases which are present, even if the duration of the case, for example, cardiac condition may continue for several years. For example, hypertension may continue for several years. Tuberculosis may be for several years. Such diseases will be reported more for the prevalence. And incidence is generally not affected by the duration of the illness. If TB has a long duration, if you go for the incidence will remain almost the same, but prevalence will definitely increase. This is the difference, basic difference between incidence and prevalence. Now that is there are several special incidence rates also which we count. For example, those individuals who were susceptible to a particular disease, and out of that X numbers are affected. So all those persons who are turned into cases out of the population at risk can also be known as attack rate. How many are subjected to the attack by a given disease? And attack rate is usually expressed in percentages. It is not expressed in the thousand. Generally, in percent, whatever you mention, you need to mention per percent or per thousand, but percentage is usual. Now, when we say attack rate, these are the new cases occurring in a specific time in a specific risk group people. That is attack rate. Suppose there are 1,000 children in a village, and in that particular year, about 100 have been attacked by measles. The attack rate is 100 divided by 1,000 because 1,000 children were susceptible. But suppose out of 1,000, 100 have already experienced measles earlier year. They are not susceptible. That's the remaining 900. And we need to count as 100 divided by 900 multiplied by 100. That will give you the percentage. So this is how we calculate attack rate. There is one more term like say secondary attack rate. In secondary attack rate, the first case occurs, which is known as primary case or index case. For example, diphtheria, which causes other cases, which transmits the disease to the other individuals who are susceptible. So out of that index case and within the range of the incubation period of that disease, suppose it is for 4 days or 5 days or 1 week, within that range, how many individuals had been attacked and affected because of that disease? There was one case initially. Suppose thereafter five cases have happened, which are known as secondary cases. So based on that, we calculate secondary attack rate or SAR. Is it clear? Incidence, prevalence. Out of that again, incidence we took, and in that incidence we have identified the attack rate and secondary attack rate. Once we tell what is the use of it, incidence is very important even in this COVID. Let us understand it. Incidence is used to understand the disease and take actions when newer cases are happening. So, what does it mean? If newer cases continue to happen for a given condition, it means number one, that our control programs have failed, or number two, our speed of detecting new cases has increased. Then also there will be more cases reported. And current scenario says that more and more tests are being applied. So newer cases will be identified. And that's also a cause for increase in the incidence rate. Now, if the incidence goes on increasing, we may have to change the strategy, whatever control measures we are taking. And suppose incidence goes on increasing, we should change it. Secondly, incidence talks about the newer cases, and that's why it gives us an idea about the etiology, about the natural history of the disease, about how that disease occurs. Because newer and newer cases will give us an idea, oh, this is happening in that particular group of people. And suppose we do the sex-wise analysis or age-wise analysis or occupation-wise analysis, we are likely to find some clue that what is the etiology, what is the pathogenesis, what is the effectiveness of our control programs. This is very important. Now, change in the incidence means there is change in either agent, either the virus has become weaker or stronger, because that leads to the increase or the decline of the number of cases, or there is change in the host, either the human beings have been powerful or they are getting more better cure, better care, or either it reflects the environment. Could you go back to that epidemiological triad? Any disease has to be seen in this triad, epidemiological triad, agent, host, and environment. And whenever the incidence is changing, believe me, either the host is changing, or the agent is changing, or the environment is changing. And if we want to find out, we should go to the different groups which are getting affected with that particular disease. Analysis of that group will identify whether it is happening with the different social economic groups, whether it is happening with the different age groups, whether it is happening with the different occupational groups, different localities, etc. So change in incidence is very important to measure our own efforts and plan accordingly. This much is for the incidence. This is revision. We have already talked about that. The second very important point which we are focusing on was prevalence. We knew that prevalence is a measure of all the prevalent cases, old and new. And this simply means that chronic cases will have more prevalence. They continue to be in the community. Those cases would recover, they will be out of the prevalence rate. Please remember. And those cases would die, they will also be out of the calculation for the prevalence rates. So whenever the recovery is fast, for example, an acute disease within 2-3 days, suppose malaria, within 3-4 days the person will be all right. The prevalence will be reduced. Or a very severe condition where the deaths will be occurring very high. In that case also the prevalence will be less. Roughly speaking, the prevalence is calculated as either point prevalence or period prevalence. Point prevalence is usually taken, and this point is always defined, whether you are making the prevalence calculations for a day, for a week, or for a given period of time. Generally, we take for a week or a month, depending upon the condition. And when you take this point prevalence, all the current cases at a given point of time have to be seen. And please remember that all these calculations have to be for the defined population, defined population, thousand population, whatever you are taking, that defined population, you need to make the prevalence rates. Prevalence is generally point prevalence, but suppose we are taking for a year, annual prevalence we are taking for some other conditions. We must mention that it is the period prevalence. Period prevalence and point prevalence is a cutoff of all the number of cases in a given point of time. Now, here also, in prevalence also, if we make the charts based on the age related prevalence or sex related prevalence, then we will definitely have some idea that what are the variables which are responsible for continuity of this particular disease. There are certain diseases which occur in the middle age, for example, cardiovascular conditions. There are certain diseases which occur more in the old age, like cancers. So this will give us some idea. If the disease is new and if we try to analyze accordingly, we will find some importance. A calculation has been proposed that suppose we try to put prevalence as P, incidence as I, and duration of the disease is D. Generally, P or prevalence is equal to I incidence multiplied by duration. Now, we all are the students of mathematics, also being science students. If P is equal to I into D, it goes without saying that I is equal to P upon D, or other way around, D is equal to P upon I. But this relationship is by and large maintained in the disease because incidence is new cases, prevalence old and new cases, and that's why the duration will be very important. So P is equal to I into D may please be remembered, and you may be having solving such solutions. So longer the duration of the disease. Now, based on this equation, you will identify longer the duration of the disease, more will be the prevalence. P is equal to I into D. Newer cases occur, but they continue for a long time in that given period, and that gives the, say, larger prevalence number. But in conditions where there is rapid recovery, the D will be small. In condition where the deaths are very high, immediate deaths, the D will be small. And that's why P is equal to I into D will also be sure. Where do we use the prevalence? Prevalence gives the total burden, total magnitude of the problem for the community. That suppose these many thousand cases are prevalent in so and so area. What is required for that? You need to plan for them, plan for their treatment, plan for their control, plan for whatever best you can do for that. And this is very important. So, my dear friends, in these three sessions, we have just touched the basic issues related to epidemiology. And so far, we are talking about what is happening, to whom it is happening, when it is happening, where it is happening. We have not tried to see why it is happening or how it is happening. If we want to see that, as I told in my first video, we need to go for the analytic epidemiology. There is one descriptive epidemiology which talks about the time, place, and person and the condition. But how and why are answered in the analytical epidemiology. One more term is that suppose you are actually doing experiment in the laboratory or in the community, this will be experimental epidemiology. There is one more term for that. Analytical epidemiology requires that you take up entire data in a comparable manner. There are people who are affected, there are people not affected. Many times I have been talking about this epidemiology that why don't we look at the people who are not being affected? If you look at them, you will perhaps identify why they are not getting the disease. What is good in them? I give you a very good example. Say in 2006 or 7 in Ahmedabad, there are a large number of cases of dengue and chikungunya. And people had come out with that there are a good number of deaths or significant number of deaths occurring in certain areas. When I tried to analyze, I found that in the same house where the mosquito breeding was present, and persons were affected with chikungunya, there are certain persons who were not affected in the same family. And perhaps if we try to find out who are these persons, the initial impression which we had carried out is those persons who had already experienced in the past different infections, like say middle-aged persons or old-aged persons, they were not much affected. But very young persons like 10 to 15 years, 15 to 20 years may had been affected much more. This may have to be proved by further expansion of the experiment, but analytical epidemiology leads to actual research or finding out the cause, finding out the pathogenesis, etc. And incidence, newer cases will help in it much more. We will talking about analytical epidemiology next time when we meet. Till that time, goodbye. Thank you very much.